From the Workers Credit Union studios here at FATV, once again, I'm Scott May, and this is North Central Journal. And much like last year, as we head into the holiday season, it's important, we think, to focus on organizations that are doing a lot for our community and our communities at large. And like last year, we have a couple of representatives of the Chamber of, not the Chamber of Commerce, but the Salvation Army. Dave MacDonald is here. He is the king of volunteers at the Salvation Army. And Lynnette Valentine, who has added a third name to that, a little hyphen, and last name now Warren. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your marriage was, your wedding was in August, and you're still good.
Yes.
I did a little bit of research, as I do for these interviews, and one of the things that struck me was how much the Salvation Army does during the course of a year, and a lot of it is, gee, just people don't know about it, but there you are. For example, the Boston Marathon.
Yeah,
you folks had a presence, and you weren't running, but you were at the Boston Marathon.
We were running.
How do you know we weren't
We were running.
You were running around. But tell me about that. Why were you? Why did you have a presence at the marathon?
The Salvation Army this year was in coordination with MEMA to handle the medical tents along the way. There's approximately 28 tents, medical tents, that if someone's running needs some assistance, our job was to support them. And we're proud to say the Salvation Army not only supported these medical tents, but our Corps did 6 tents, numbers 20 through 26, and also a rest area. So we were very proud to be part of the Boston Marathon. I think I sent you a picture of that. It was a fun day experience that I never went to a marathon. Have you ever been to a marathon?
Yes.
It's the first time I ever went to one. So if you want to volunteer for the Salvation Army, you get a front row seat to the marathon. In fact, I was even on the news. I was on Channel 4. But Scott, before we go anywhere, I just want to mention a passing of a friend of ours from the Leominster Emergency Management, which was Jimmy LeBlanc. He passed away a couple weeks ago. And we just want to know from the Salvation Army our condolences to Leominster Management and all the people in Leominster. He was a good man, and he's going to be missed. But
Lynnette, aside from being married a few months ago, your job, it's almost 24/7.
It is 24/7.
We were talking about this before you came in today, and just how much time you put in, and you've been doing this now since.
This will be my 7th season. So 7 Christmases. This is number 7.
And this is this considered your busiest time of year?
It is. Actually, I started making phone calls in August. So there's a lot of behind the scenes that takes place for the Thanksgiving baskets to be distributed, the toys to be put together and prepared for the families based on what the children's wish lists are. So we're really honing in right now on putting those pieces together. Before I came in here today, I was working on the volunteer list, the groups and the clubs, and making the Christmas schedule, contacting all the storefronts, letting them know when we're going to be there, what protocols are doing. So COVID's changed it a little bit, but we're pretty much getting used to COVID protocol. The mask wearing, we're there. It's not gone away, but we can ensure the safety of everyone while we're out there ringing the bells.
How have the numbers of people that are in need of assistance, how have they changed?
They've changed. Well, the Salvation Army, we were just talking, I did an interview with a Fitchburg State student today, going over what the Salvation Army does, and when she was sitting in front of me, she was totally amazed. Like, I didn't know. If I could shout from Mount Wachusett, I would say the Salvation Army wears many hats in the community, and the footprint's very important. We do our social service to a very high degree, helping with rent, utilities, taking care of the food insufficiency, the homelessness. But you asked the question about how COVID has affected or what the numbers look like. And the projections are going higher now because the food stamp cards, the PAC cards are decreasing in number, the dollar amount, so we're seeing the clients come back. But over the course of COVID, we saw different type of clientele, and it was your working people, the people who don't qualify for rental assistance, who don't qualify for SNAP benefits, and it was to decide whether to pay rent, utility, put gas in their car, fix their car, or feed their children. So they were coming through the pantry, and they were like, I never thought I'd be here. So we're seeing a whole different platform. However, it's not declining. So we've got people coming back that are no longer getting the extra money, and the people knowing that we have a service out there that's very much needed. So across the board, our numbers are increasing.
We also see an increase with the elderly as far as the inflation. It's a killer out there, and our food pantries are really running to the max.
Yep.
And I mean, a dozen eggs is not what it was a year ago. And it's funny, Scott, a year ago we were sitting here talking with you and about the challenges of COVID. We get those same challenges today. It's just a different picture. And Lynnette and I and Paul, and we all sat down and had meetings about how we're going to adjust our schedules to handle this. And we're all in new waters. I mean, the inflation, the shortages of food, turkey dinners are going to be crazy this year. So we're prepping now, and I got to thank Lynnette for what she's doing as far as getting all the stuff ready. Because we're going to be hit, and so on food pantries, and I'm proud to say that we do help food pantries in the neighborhood. So they're going to be hit pretty hard, I think. So,
How long have you been volunteering for the Salvation Army, Dave?
you know, I want to say a couple weeks, but it's been 36 years this year.
36 years.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned Paul, you meant Paul Garvin, who is,
Yeah, Paul Garvin.
I know Paul has been a part of the organization for as long as you, or somewhere nearby, right?
I'm a little bit longer, but Paul let me come today because normally Paul would sit here. And
I think he's scheduled to be on another one of our shows
Yes.
pretty soon. So,
Paul's a great guy.
yeah.
He's a dear friend of ours.
Yeah, I
He worked hard
understand.
last year.
Yeah.
Him and his wife Patty.
And of course, the Salvation Army, the Massachusetts Salvation Army, Fitchburg Salvation Army, includes Leominster, Lunenburg. How do you work with other Salvation Army organizations around the state?
Around the state, right now, our servicing area, like you said, is Fitchburg, Leominster, and Lunenburg, and I'll say serving Fitchburg, Leominster, and Lunenburg. However, we are on call with our EDS, which is Emergency Disaster Service, and we've been called out to several fires in Boston. We went to one, and I can't remember where it was. It was the
It was a 7-alarm fire.
7-alarm fire.
Wow.
It was
Four.
the dump or something.
Oh,
or
no,
a
that was in-
landfill. It was a
that was
landfill
last year.
fire. We went to that. We've been down to the hurricanes. Salvation Army's feet are on ground from day one until done. And when the teams in that area get tired, then we're all on standby and we go when we need to go. So we're pretty much across the Massachusetts division. And then on a national level, when there's a hurricane or something like that, we're on call and we go as a fleet.
Now you have some pictures. We were in Belmont, I want to say 2 months ago, and there was a building there that all of a sudden cracks started going into the building. And it's almost like what happened in Florida, if you
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Well, the board of, the building officer, they shut the building down, and they had 30 families, didn't know what to do with the families. And so they all met at the library, and we were called out to feed them, give them coupons, give them discounts, help the families relocate. And those are always experiences that we enjoy going to, but it's, you know, it's heartwarming is what it is.
Tell us about the Good Neighbor Energy Fund.
The Good Neighbor Energy Fund, I'm going to back that up just a little bit to let people understand it a little bit more, because the more people that know, the better it is. If you qualify for fuel assistance, that's the first question we ask if someone's in need with a utility bill. And we will refer them to fuel assistance. If you get turned down from fuel assistance, then you come see myself or Miss Debbie at the Salvation Army, and we apply for what they call the Good Neighbor, and we help with the utility bill. That's helping the people who don't qualify for assistance. So once again, we're helping the people, all scenarios, you know, around the board. But we want to utilize the funding that's available for its purpose, and then take care of those who don't qualify for that funding.
The Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center.
That one is, that's our, a lot of people know us with the Shield as, especially in this area, as the thrift store. The thrift store is a separate entity, it's a separate command
Right.
from what we do. How we share the same Shield and it's all the same purpose. However, the Adult Rehabilitation Center, all the items that are sold, all the funding goes to rehabilitate drug addicts and alcoholics. And the main focus is to get them back in the workforce, to give them their purpose, to bring them back to their families. And that's number one, is to rehabilitate them to the point where we can engage them back into a family setting.
There's a very high success rate with that
It is
too.
very high.
For the program, it's a very good program.
Now, what is the Salvation Army giving season?
The giving season right now, we're, like I told you, we're
Right
in
now,
it right
yeah.
now. We have some wonderful things to announce. We have partnered with Walmart. This happened during COVID last year, and it's the Angel Tree program. And we will have a tree in Walmart's, both Walmart's here, with our angels on it. You can pick an angel and shop and drop your toy off in the box, and we'll go by and pick them up. Or you can go online and register, and all the toys have been selected on there, and you go on to the Salvation Army giving, and you can pick an angel and pick a toy.
It was a great program last
Awesome.
year.
Yeah.
Nationwide, a lot of kids got a lot of toys. So we want to thank Walmart for their support.
That's great. The Red Kettle campaign, when does that get underway?
Well, we're in the process of doing that right now as
Really?
well.
Yeah.
I
Like
need
I
a
said,
rep,
there's a
jeez.
lot of things happening.
Holy crap, I want a raise.
The Red Kettle campaign is in full force at the moment. We're working on how we're going to present different things. We're working on our fundraisers, but what we're setting up is our tree. Our tree of lights is very well known here. This is our 4th year, and the tree will go up in the on Water Street with the lights on it, and then the color lights going around, which will act like a thermometer, just kind of telling you where we are in our campaign. And when the star lights, we light the community, we hit our goal. So our goal this year is $100,000, and we're going to remain hopeful that we can hit our goal. And it's
And by the
really
way, with
important.
your help last year after the show, thank you. With your help and FATV, we met our goal. People watched the show and said, well, how can I help? So thank you.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was because of everything that I saw that you did in 2021, are there things in the first quarter of 2022 that people should be aware of that are coming up?
2022, like I said, we have our pantry, we have our social work, we have our kids program, we have our music mentoring program, we have a lot of things. So we go from season to season.
Yeah.
But the social service is the most important, to let the people know in the community that we're here all year round. It's not Red Kettle. The Red Kettle is what makes that possible. So hitting our goal is vital for us to continue to do what we do. We're going to do it. We're going to find a way, but that makes it a little bit more profound, where the money comes in and it goes right back to the community. And we have summer camp for kids. We have the summer fun program. We have music mentoring. We have women's ministry. We have Cameo, come and meet each other. So there's just a lot of fun things happening. And then we have our events. Our fire truck pool is going to take place. That's going to be, and we're going to do a purse auction, which is going to be purses for a purpose right around Mother's Day. We added a twist to it. It's a mystery purse auction. You're not just bidding on the purse. You're bidding what's in the purse, and you don't know what that is. Okay, so we've gone all over the state. We've got a lot of things, donate nice gifts. You could get a purse in the yard sale section, lightly used, lightly loved, and it could have a trip to a hotel in Boston. You just have no idea where these gifts are going to go and what purse they're going to end up in. So it's going to be just a fun day.
There's a lot of things planned, and even like last year, we have to thank Macy's. They donated over $230,000 worth of prom dresses to the community.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we gave prom dresses to every town imaginable within the 50-mile radius. So it's been a fun project that we've been having, and with everything going on, it's still been fun.
So how can people help?
Most importantly, like we said last year, is a monetary donation, and that could be mailed to 739 Water Street, Fitchburg. And in the memo, you write for Fitchburg, Salvation Army, for the community. It stays local. It goes by zip code. But also, if people want to volunteer, they can call if they want to ring bells. We're looking for groups. We're looking for children, just the evenings and covering those kettles. We have 2,686 bell ringing hours to fill. So our plea right now is to get volunteers involved, to say, what can we do to help? We're going to ring for a purpose and light that tree, which lights the star to light the community.
Speaking of volunteers, very quickly, if one does want to become a volunteer for the Salvation Army, Dave, what do you recommend?
Recommend one is give us a call, work with us for a day. Come on to an emergency disaster, come with us. Call Lynnette, call the office. If you have a spare hour, come on down. once you give a volunteer and once you learn what it's like, you don't want to let go. It's a nice thing.
It's contagious.
That's the word.
Last but not least, Lynnette, congratulations once
Thank
again
you.
on your
Thank
wedding.
you.
Lynnette Valentine-Warren. And thank you for everything you do.
Scott, one quick thing. I just want to make sure that people understand there's a lot of charities out there this year. Fitchburg and Leominster and Lunenburg have been fortunate. You don't have to go to the Salvation Army. You can. There's so many agencies, the Our Father's House, or other food pantries, and I think you might have a guest coming on. Whatever you feel comfortable with. The only thing we ask is get involved and help. So.
And thank you both again.
Thank you.
And welcome once again to North Central Journal. I'm Scott May here from the Workers Credit Union Studios at FATV. And joining us for this segment of the Journal is Susan Chalifoux Zephir from Ginny's Helping Hands. Yes. People know you as a city councilor in Leominster, but we're not talking politics today.
That's fine with me. Yeah, that's great.
Let's talk a bit about the history of Ginny's.
Certainly.
I was not aware of it until I did a little bit of research. So
Okay.
Tell us how it all began.
Well, Ginny White began the organization well over 30 years ago, 35, 40 years ago. And she was a one-woman operation pretty much in Leominster. She took care of people. She started the food pantry. She started the thrift store. She helped people in all different kinds of ways, you know, providing food, transportation, medicine, you name it, and Ginny could put her hands on it and find somewhere to get it. So Ginny White started it, and it was herself and a gentleman that helped her for many years, Ray Milton, who was with her for a long time. He was a truck driver. And the two of them just took care of thousands of people across North Central Mass.
Now tell us how you became involved and what inspired you to stick with it.
Sure. Well, you know, years ago, my husband and I, we both volunteered at Ginny's. My mother, who is from Fitchburg, lived in Leominster for a very long time. She also worked and volunteered with Ginny, particularly around the holidays. You know, Ginny used to serve a Thanksgiving cooked dinner. When we don't do that any longer. We don't really have a kitchen facility, but that was something my mother loved. So I volunteered, then my husband did, and when Ginny retired, she announced her retirement, I think in 2012, and looked, you know, kind of put feelers out for somebody to take the organization over, and really didn't come up with a succession plan. So my husband and I, we just stepped in and said, well, we'll do it for a little while, you know, to keep things going, because we knew the need was there, Scott. The need didn't change.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of need, and that gets me to another question. How have you seen the need for services? How have they evolved or changed over the years?
They've increased. You know, the need for food certainly has increased. We saw during the pandemic kind of a drop-off in numbers. On average, before the pandemic, we would see about 1,000 people a month, maybe 1,200 a month. And during the pandemic, in the early months, we stayed open the whole time. We were closed for 1 week in March of 2020 to figure out a way to provide food to people, contactless delivery, so that everybody was safe and healthy. So we stayed open, and then our numbers started to pick up, and they haven't even stabilized. They haven't plateaued yet. We've seen an increase the last several months, the last few months, 3 months. In September, we had over 1,400 people come through our food pantry, which is huge for us. And on it, you know, we're about at 1,200 on average. So to answer your question, it's kind of a long way to answer your question, but the need is increasing, not only for food, but housing is certainly a challenge I have found throughout North Central Mass. Temporary emergency shelter housing for folks in the cold weather. The United Way has a great program. We work very closely with the United Way. We work closely with the Leominster Police Department, Homeless Outreach Coordinator, Danessa McQuaid. But finding space for people once the emergency is over, if that's 1 or 2 nights when it's freezing cold, getting people into housing, temporary transitional housing, is a real challenge. And I see that as a continuing problem for the area.
Well, you mentioned Ginny White, and
Yes.
one thing that struck me is the motto. Tell us about that, what it is, and how it pertains to Ginny's.
Ginny's motto, she had 2 models actually. I think the one that you're referring to is a hand up, not a hand out.
Right.
And she firmly believed that, and she really lived by that. She encouraged people and helped people wherever they were at. But then she expected them, to help themselves. We'll give you a hand up, we'll get you going, whatever you need, and then it's up to you. And I can't tell you how many people have come back full circle to pay it forward. They were helped by Ginny, so they come back and they donate money, usually, and they'll tell stories about how, Ginny really saved their life. The other motto was Leominster is the city of angels, and I think that that's true. But I would expand that to say the whole region, the North Central region, is full of generous individuals, businesses, and organizations. We can't do the work we do without everybody's support.
Now we should mention that Ginny's, although located in Leominster, it's for the region. It's a regional program, correct?
It absolutely is. Fitchburg, Gardner, and Leominster. We serve probably 85 or 90% of the people who come to our food pantry are from those 3 cities. But we serve a number of towns, as far west as Athol to, Acton, and every place in between.
How do things change this time of year? As we go into the holidays,
Right.
We talked to the Salvation Army, and we know how flat out they are and how challenging it does become, particularly this time of year. I assume you see a similar challenge.
Absolutely. How does it get? It gets crazy.
Yeah.
We're busy, and then you add, the holidays on top of that. At Ginny's, we provide holiday food baskets, which is a turkey and all of the ingredients a family would need to make a nice holiday dinner. And we, at Christmas time, we do holiday gifts for families. We have a number of families that we try to make sure that everybody has something nice on Christmas. So it just adds a whole other layer of kind of busyness and capacity. We just don't have the people to do that. So
Right.
it's when we are in great need of volunteers.
And how does one get involved with Ginny's?
We're open Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 5, and then on Saturdays we're open 9 to 4. So people can come right into Ginny's. We're located at 52 Mechanic Street, which is about a block off of Monument Square in downtown Leominster, so we're very convenient. So they can come right in, look at our operation. We'll give them a tour of our operation, and then they can sign up to volunteer then, or they can just call us at 978-537-1387. They can also, we have a website, jinnyshelpinghands.org. They can go to our website as well.
We've talked about a number of things that Ginny's does, but let's talk specifically about services from top to bottom, everything that you provide.
Everything that we provide. Well, we have a thrift store. The thrift store is a very important part of our operation. So people donate gently used clothing, bedding, small household things. We have some lamps and small household items. We used to have a whole furniture section, but we just couldn't keep up with that. We closed it during the pandemic and have not reopened that. So the thrift store is a very important part of our operation. So we have the thrift store and the food pantry. So in addition to food, we also have referrals for people that need clothing. Perhaps they had a fire in their home, or they were a domestic violence victim, or for whatever reason they just need some clothing, or they need kids clothing or kids jackets or whatever. So we also provide clothing to people. We have personal hygiene products, shampoo, soap, toothbrushes, all that kind of stuff. We also have diapers, baby wipes, infant formula. So those kinds of things we provide as well to families that come in, or individuals that come in. We also, as I mentioned, work with the United Way in the wintertime for the temporary emergency shelter.
Right.
And that's an ongoing program that thank goodness we have, because we'd have people, outdoors freezing. So temporary emergency shelter, we have provided transportation in the past. People that had to get it, for example, if we knew that there would be a bed for them at a shelter in Worcester or any other place, we would, we can help a person get either, bus tickets, train tickets, things like that. We don't do a lot of that, but we help people as much as we can.
Basically, whatever the needs are, they can at least appeal to Ginny's for some help.
That's right. And you know what, Scott? If we don't have it, we know where to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what we can do. We can, yeah.
So a hand up, not a handout.
Hand up, not a handout, absolutely.
Ginny's Helping Hands, and Sue, it's nice meeting you.
Very nice meeting you too.
Thank you very much for everything you're doing. And once again, let's give it one last plug. How do folks get in touch or find out more information about Ginny.
I neglected to mention our Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
Well, I talked about our website, I talked about our phone number. We're located at 52 Mechanic Street, but you can also find us on Facebook, Ginny's Helping Hands on Facebook.
On Facebook.
And that's probably the easiest way. Most people are on Facebook. But again, you can also call us at 978-537-1387. And we really need help during the holidays. It's labor intensive, organizing all of the food baskets and then organizing our tours as well.
Well, thank you again for being here, and
Thank you so
thank you
much.
for everything you do.
Thank you so much for having me here and for letting me get the word out.